Hello and welcome to the Low-Code Campfire. This is episode number 249 for Friday, June 26, 2026. Today is an Open Lines Friday, and I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for Plant and App. The but was next week is not going to be an Open Lines Friday. It's going to be a celebration of 250, but we'll get into that in a minute. Low-Code Campfire is an event that we do most Fridays this time, and it's an opportunity to get together and to talk about low-code in general, Plant and App in specific, and this is just a show and tell and help each other kind of an event. So all skill levels welcome, beginner to expert. We record all of them, put them on YouTube, so you can get to that at youtube.com/plantandapp. We run a pretty flexible agenda. We always stop and say hello because we're a friendly group, and then we go around the campfire with things like first call and submitted topics. There is nothing submitted for this week, so we're going to rely heavily on you. We look around at our different websites, and then after an hour or so, we go into Afterglow. That's where we hang around and enjoy each other off the record for a few more minutes. Afterglow will be a little bit on the shorter side today. So do jump in, show and tell, raise your hand, but do get involved. This was a slide I put in early on as we start looking back on 249 episodes. I think the first one had this. I threatened to sing if you didn't participate. Today I have absolutely nothing prepared, so I encourage you to participate. I don't want to have to threaten you. You can submit anything you want in advance, support@plantandapp.com, and I'll do a little bit of research, put it on the agenda, and we can talk about it. So with that, hello, one and all.
Hello.
Hello, Dale. Hello.
And now that I think about it, there was something that Ben had brought to attention that I hadn't researched, so we could dig into that if nothing else comes up. But before we even do that, we'll start with what you who showed up might have had to talk about.
80% is showing up.
Okay, yeah.
Who is that? Woody Allen, I think.
All right. So since you're not jumping in, I am going to talk about my first one, which is this. I'm going to put this on the chat. Whoops, where did it go? If you come and I assume I did a poll a few weeks ago that there would be a possibility of people attending, and this is, I promised the giveaway for attending the 250th episode. So assuming we're still having it next week, I'm going to put this on the chat. Anybody wants a custom background, you get this absolutely for free together with your Plant and App subscription or just wanting it. Thanks to AI for ChatGPT helped me build this. So there's that.
Looks great.
Yeah. Give it 2 or 3 tries and a couple of suggestions, and yeah. So I will throw that out. Anyone planning to be here on the 3rd of July?
That's a good question. Typically, the first Friday, I have something else, but of late, their first Fridays turned into second Fridays. So I'm not sure what we're doing next Friday.
We'll probably be here.
And yeah, I probably will as well. But we'll if I don't do anything else that day, I'll do that week. And who knows? Maybe it'll be an abbreviated session. We'll just stop and say happy 250th and go on from there. And welcome, Patrick.
Thank you.
Tell me, do you have access to the chat? Is the link that I put on there, is it still there, or do I need to post it again?
No, I don't.
I'll put it there This is the, if you decide to come next week or just to any time to celebrate the
Oh, yeah.
250. So,
Nice.
yeah, nice of America 250 to do all the advertising for our 250th episode.
I used to work for a company called Palindrome, and it was a networking backup software company. But the algorithm that they used for their keeping track of their backup schedule was the Tower of Hanoi, which basically is a palindrome. And I've always loved numbers. So the fact that number 250 of the campfire falls on the 250th anniversary, that's a big significance for people who are numerologist types. So can't miss it.
So whether you consider it that or just darn lucky, it's not certainly nothing I planned. We take them off from time to time, so
It's definitely fate,
okay.
numerical fate.
Patrick, I've already extended the opportunity of first call, but if you have a first call, anything at all, we'll take that up.
I don't right now, no.
Okay. I know from offline discussions that there's a possibility of another USPA employee. Do you know whether?
No, he's on the West Coast, so I don't think he's going to make it.
Yeah, awfully early. Okay, well,
Yeah.
Jim can make it. Anyway, we would always enjoy expanding our family here. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just start down the line a little bit. Still no changes to documentation recently. I know that there are some coming up. If nothing else, we have the new, and that would be another one I can get started here. The new Forms 2.0 will require quite a bit of documentation rewrite. Let me find. And now I have a hard time remembering all the things I say publicly, but since I never lie, I don't have to keep them straight. The next release is going to be version 2 of Plant and App. I think I've said that.
You did.
And so I'm bringing up the release on one of our QA things, and maybe we can take a look at that. They are continuing to work on the new Forms product, and so we might peek in on that a little bit. I get excited by the smallest of things, but one of the things that I did some user acceptance on this week was that they have alphabetized the tools, the field types, and I find that to be useful as compared
Yes,
to,
that's very nice.
and there are more getting on the list. So, and you can see I was working with something having to do with layout here on my test. So let's see what we have. Let's put this. So, yeah, we can see that they are alphabetical, so we should be able to find them. We get a bunch more, and I suppose we'll, I don't know whether we'll end up with a search in there. It wouldn't surprise me, but for now, it's just growing. Call out some things that I know that are, that we haven't ever talked about in here. I see there's a dynamic container, which tells me that we're working on the dynamic fields functionality. I don't know how far along that story is. I think we've seen money before. Password is one, and I know that this one is just now in, we're working on some development. There was some discussion around it, and I want to bounce off of you what we decided and make sure that we're not skipping any use cases. In the action form, the password field allowed for initialization, and in the I mean, historically, passwords were sometimes in the clear, and you might have a use case for it, but that's no longer the case. So our thought on the password field is that if we're going to prompt for a password, that there won't be an initial value for this field. That you can have it on the form, and if your users interact with it, then when you submit the form, it'll have a value. If you it will have any typing they do will have asterisks or whatever the character is to show that they're typing a character. And if they don't interact with it, it will, when they submit it, will have no value. So you'll be able to tell based on the fact of whether or not it has a value, whether or not they're trying to change or submit a password. It'll still be able to be required. But the big thing I'm trying to say is that it would differ from the existing password field, action form password fields, in that you would not be able to provide an initial value. Does anyone have a use case that would make them crazy?
I don't have many, but I think that'll be a problem.
I think there are some times when there needs to be a login, but it's not critical to have it be a secret what the password is. But I think that could be handled another way without having to have an initialized password field.
Yes.
Like an auto login kind of thing.
Yep. So among other things, the standard text field could be used for that. If it's not a secret, you could do that.
Mm.
The other thing is there's discussion about it, but no specification yet for a secret field type, which would not be intended for passwords. It would be intended that as you're typing, you would see what you're typing. You'd see the last character of what you've typed. You've seen that kind of thing before, but it could be initialized, and it could be you would see the value when it was submitted, that kind of thing. So, but it's kind of a different use case, but for a lower level of security. So,
It sounds like you'd be able to see one character at a time.
right. That was what I was trying to say, and how well I said it.
Okay, and what about the ability to see all the characters, like see the password?
I'm sorry. Yep, that was on the list too. Again, under discussion, no specification, but having a click where you can see, you could reveal all the characters.
Yeah.
And then release it, and it would, or click it again, and it would go back. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, that feature's there now, and we use it. Yep.
Good.
You put an eyeball in the right side of the field for view or not view, that kind of a thing. That's the
Yes.
Yeah. The current field has that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. The login and the register action are still specifying which field is your password, which field is your username still, right? There's no change there, right? So whatever field we choose to collect that information, we can specify it in the login action, right?
To my knowledge, yes, that we're going to still support fields being designated Of course, the worst case would be that those actions, I think, also support tokens, so you'd be able to point it to it. But to my knowledge, yes, and let's see if we can. I mean, I haven't used this at all, and it's in a state of development. But let's see if we have a password field, and we also have a button. And we look at the properties of button, add an action. See what they have going on. So far, these are not automatically linking. You would have to fill them in with a token. I don't know where that will land. Not part of that discussion.
What's the little pop-up icon at the end of the password field? Go back into your form area, and now it's there now on the screen. It's on the right end. That pop-up.
Yeah, that's RoboForm. That's my browser.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a feature of the. You wouldn't see this unless you have RoboForm. It's
Gotcha.
password filler.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
since it's a password field, it's trying to do something with it. Other than that, there was the thing that I was testing in here. Let me make this as big as I can. We still have this 12-column layout. We were trying to get it to be far more reliable in the ability to be able to place things where you want them. And so I was dragging things around. And also this container containers can be vertical. And if you flip a container to vertical, everything shifts to that layout. Of course, that can be of an unlimited length. When it's horizontal, the first the fields would be evenly spaced. If there were 3 fields in the container, then they would take up the full width. So it would be taking up 4 columns, 4, 4, 4. Since there's in this case, I think we've got 15 things or so on the form in that container, then it takes the first 12 and then drops the next 2 on. So it makes some assumptions when you use the automatic layout horizontal mode. When you go to manual, then you can start dragging things around as you want. And that's really the area where I was testing, was trying to see that if we started dragging things that we could accomplish what we want. And so these handles, for example, are accessible and you can put things where you want them to be and achieve your layout goals. So I thought they'd made some very good steps to make it be much more what you see is what you get.
Looking good, Dale.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a question.
No, I was just commenting. It's looking good.
Giving me reinforcement. I appreciate that. You're afraid I'm going to sing. Okay. Oh, there's one that I was playing with here. That there will be a maximum length parameter, which I'm trying to remember. I think there is this on a text field in action form. We can go look at one. somewhere. Ugh. So text has initial value, but it has maximum length, and it's just optionally set a maximum length. But without this, it was unlimited. Right, if you didn't provide one, the current plan that I know of is that the text box length, the default length, is going to be 450 characters. So if you didn't provide anything, and I've put in to request that we tell you that explicitly, that it's 450. You can expand it if you want, but there was the thought that these, rather than letting them be unlimited by default, that they would have a length which also corresponds to what we consider the length of a good length for a text field. This, if we go through with it that way, this would potentially be a small possibility of a breaking change for you. That if you have a form, has a text field, doesn't have any length associated with it, that we would start enforcing a 450 limit versus a unlimited limit. Does that cause anybody any alarm? And it would just be something to know about during a conversion of a migrated form, right? You could come in and say that it was 10,000, and it would quietly start applying one on a migrated form. I'm not hearing screaming.
That's not a big problem, I think.
I have never yet seen our migration tool, so that'll be something exciting to look for. But again, the idea is that action form will continue to run, and then you choose when to migrate form, you migrate it, you test it, you make sure it works. It's not, to my knowledge, it's more in the idea of importing from a form versus automatically converting a form from one thing to another. So I think you're not going to be able to lose it unless right, you'll create a new one and migrate it and decide to publish it, kind of thing.
So the limit you're talking about is purely in the UI. It's not the database. I mean, I've got large text fields that are JSON strings that are big, but not any interfaces that somebody submits some string or numbers or whatever in a field. That 450 is not going to be a problem.
Right. And I haven't looked at it. We can drop a large text on here too. We have we call them text area now. And if we look at the properties of that to see whether it has we have rows, I don't see any limit associated with it. So I think if you pick the right field type, I think 450 is a lot for a text field. So
exactly.
But yeah, we're not going to impact anything on the database. It's just how you interact with it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any problem.
Yeah, so that's where we are with that. Is there any other forms question while I have it open? I didn't know. I hadn't seen this button before. Migration plan. This is my first look. I will not even promise it's going to look anything like this by the time you see it, but so it's this is interesting. It's kind of giving you a readout of what's going to happen. So I have no idea what, like I say, this is a first look, but apparently they're thinking about it, and it's going to tell you in advance what it's going to do before you click the button. So,
Dale, you said, was there anything else?
yeah.
And you happen to be on the settings tab. And I know something that does bug me from time to time. It would be really cool since you're redoing things to influence it. But the JavaScript, the initial JavaScript here in the settings, I would love that to be a lot bigger or open in a new window or something like that. It always kind of bugs me when you've got such a big screen sitting on your desk and you're only allowed to use that 2-inch height to do your work in.
Well, first of all, let's take a look at where we are. So we have a general page pre-init, after init. So it looks like they haven't anticipated or they haven't worked at all on the page JavaScript yet. So I will happy to make that comment and see where they're going with that.
I appreciate that.
The action form is called initialization script. And it'd be bigger. So I know oftentimes we use a tool that has a click handle in the corner that you can make something bigger. How do you feel about that versus versus other techniques for balancing, expanding?
Well, that would definitely be a step in the right direction. I mean, if I had my preferences, I'd like to open it up in a full-size window and go to town on it. But because sometimes there's quite a bit in there, and there's sections that interrelate with each other, and you need to see more. Ideally, I'd like to see a whole page, but barring that, dragging a corner down would be great. It might already do that. I don't know. I kind of think that's a intermediate step, meaning it's better than it not being able to do it, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. And I don't think, let's see.
And there,
Well, I don't think there is a drag on it now.
I know a lot of times I'll take all that and I'll copy it out, put it in Notepad plus plus or something, and it's just extra steps,
I absolutely understand. In my create update tokens has this is the handle that I'm talking about. And
right.
it's the same issue. You want to be able to edit something that's bigger than what what's been provided, how do we do it? So it's a similar issue. How do you feel about this one?
I wouldn't speak up and be a voice of dissent if I weren't being asked. But like measure measure the distance, like visually across your screen. You've got the screen available width is more than twice the width that's being provided. And a lot of times I could use that width. There's a little box compared to the size of the screen. And we try to put a lot of stuff in there. I know sometimes that token value, I put a lot of HTML or a lot of CSS in there. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. It's useful at the time. You know what you could do with that? Maybe I'm just top of my head, but maybe that could pop open to like a full size pop-up with all the goodies like scroll bars and full width. Editing tools.
I'm with Mark. I see the same problem, but what I do is I've got an editor, BB Edit open, so I've got space for working on the code, and I'll just copy paste the code into another window, do my stuff, and when I'm happy, I clear out the Planet App window and drop it in. Do it that way. It's probably nicer if it were built in to the tool, so I don't have to jump to someplace else. So I'd be with Mark on that.
Yeah, so I think that's a sign that we're doing workarounds.
Right.
And that's absolutely what I'm recording. And thinking back on this, to my earliest exposure with these tools, same thing in both cases. I mean, when I do large JavaScript, I copy it out and look at it, maybe look at it in something that formats it nicely. Which reminds me,
You've got another one on the screen before you scroll. There was a description at the top. The word says description. Yeah. Why is that so short? I'm going to type more than that in there. And you encourage me to type more than that in there.
closes, you see it, but the editing is
Yeah, once I get here, I can't see it all. And sometimes the difference is at the end of the line. Something the thing that I want to see because it's a repeat of something else, but it's a little different.
Mhm.
It just look at this, how much space there is available. Why not just show it? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a complainer. I'm not. It's just, noticing things that we're looking at. That's all.
Uh, absolutely. I know, I can't remember. It's a big product. I lose my way sometimes, but I know we've been talking about, oh, I know it was in here on button settings that, the amount of space for things, I mean, things get crowded and they put a lot of things into them. And let's see, one of the things was, it wasn't necessarily buttons. Let's see. Yeah, it's just trying to make the best use of that. I know that sometimes there's lots of flags and things, and they're doing a better job at finding a way to do that. Another thing is execute actions. And the fact that we have lots of them.
Oh, then they start nesting, don't they?
No.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, that they start to take up more room. And so there's even less room
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, I have noticed that too. Noticed it, meaning I got a little bit irritated, like, oh man, I got to work in that little bitty window.
And then, we also have to deal with smaller. Not everybody has full-size laptop, and so now you get into nested. It only gets worse on us if you don't have a full-size monitor. Um, so
So this is all cool stuff. That the fact that we can do all this and have execute actions, and it's all great. It's just a workability nuisance, really, that it gets smaller. So not really complaining, just kind of like talking out
yeah,
loud.
well, I mean, I asked your opinion and kind of showing progress. I kind of go back to that. If this were if you had a full screen, if this tool were a full screen tool that you could click and open it and then click and shut it, and I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I'm sorry, let's like a run SQL action maybe would do that. Let's see if we can. Yeah. SQL query, we have a query, and there is this.
Right.
So
That's a nice addition. Yeah.
control at the top. I'm trying to remember. Oh, this is the theming. Interesting. I haven't ever played with this particular one, but you can. So whatever this tool is in Run SQL, curious now. A code parameter. I think this might be something called Monaco editor. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think you're going in the right direction.
if those various places that we're talking about, we made more pervasive use of the Monaco editor like features that we see in Run SQL Query, that that would give us access. Yeah, I like that. Might be a nice balance, even because even like in a nested execute actions, let's do this. Yeah. Execute actions and just making sure it completely escapes the bounds of the. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll mention that as a possible outcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
I feel privileged having a direct line to the top.
You
Well, you can let me think so for a minute.
absolutely. I oftentimes get to express my opinions.
Good.
We don't always take my opinions, but the product. I was in a meeting today that it was totally unrelated, but there were like 4 different people that had worked on a project, and it gets better because more people got involved. If it were just mine, I'm not sure it would be the right answer. Pretty sure it wouldn't. So, anyway. But I get to express my opinions. All right. And you through me. All right. What else? 10:40, 20 minutes. Go. Yeah, let's check. See if there's anything. And now my curiosity is jumping in here for a minute. I mentioned we talked quite a bit last week about the idea that listings would have the ability to have custom views. And I took every one of your feedback, by the way, and fed that into our development team. So hopefully some of that will make it in as well. I'm trying to remember what the settings were on this. This is legacy view, and we get this vertical layout. I'm trying to remember how we accomplished that, but this is I believe this was one of those customized ones. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole. Nothing new.
Nothing to see here, folks.
That's right. Patrick, I do not mean to call you out, but I will anyway. Did you happen, I don't think you were here last week. We talked at length about custom views being added into listings. Didn't know if you happened to listen to us in replay. And if you didn't, just encouraging, it might be a good discussion to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't, but yeah, I would like to hear that. Yeah.
Just the very short synopsis to tease you into listening to that is that we know that since we're getting rid of Bootstrap 3, and Bootstrap 3 had the ability to have customized templates, that there's an active project to have something else in being able to have some kind of a custom view, and I think we're calling
Excellent.
it a template or something like that, that's built into the product, not go edit a file, but rather a header and an item and a footer that you fill in with HTML. And
Okay.
so I think it's worth, and I just went over the card. So
Cool.
all right. So I think the one that I mentioned that Ben had submitted, find it here so I don't make things up, had mentioned was that one of our actions, the CSV to list action, he was concerned that it didn't release memory right away. So this is, go back to this one. Just have a place to show stuff off here. If we had a button and we had an action, and you're creating list from a CSV source, I guess would be the thing. That there's a couple of, one, he's reporting that if you did this with a very big file, that maybe the memory wouldn't be released right away. And the other thing is that much like, well, we have another action. Create list from SQL that we have this clear before loading option, and I think this CSV one doesn't have it. So it's kind of a combination of two issues that he's reporting. Because you don't have this clear before loading, that when you do a create list from a CSV source, the first time, let's say you had 100 records. When you do 100 records, it puts them into the list. If you use the same list name with another 200 records, now you'll have 300 records, not 200. Because these things implicitly add when you create this from CSV. It doesn't clear out the list, it adds to the list. So he was trying to do 31 files. He was loading each one. He was thinking he was doing them one at a time, and the first time he had one, the second time he had two, the third time he had 3 files, and so it was adding and making memory usage worse and worse and worse, and then memory wasn't getting released. So got a couple of things going on with that. Okay, so assuming I've done any kind of job of explaining it, I've tried to think about what we might do. One would be to have that same checkbox to clear the list before loading. What is it? Clear before loading. Which makes it pretty explicit. And now I'm just revealing the way I think about things, brainstorming, right? Not without, I don't want to say I'm promising anything in the product, but I'm wondering if this were any other, lists are kind of special in Plantanet. If it were any other kind of token, you could assign a blank value to a token and it would essentially be blank, or maybe go away. The lists you can't destroy. So I'm also wondering if we should have a destroy list action.
That would work, but so would that clear before loading.
Yep.
But
So
clear before loading doesn't destroy the structure of the list, does it? So that would be a difference between destroy list and clear.
no, clear before loading, it does destroy the so on this one, clear before loading, if you had a SQL that had one shape in and then you followed it with another SQL that had a completely different table, fields, whatever, clear before loading would make sure that your list has a completely different shape.
Okay. Pretty much
So
the same.
it is a destroy.
Mhm.
But I don't.
It sounds
So
like you're
that-
describing two ways of doing the same thing.
I agree. So I'm trying to think of how many different things we do with lists. So it's from CSV source, right, from Excel, from JSON, from SQL. So it looks like there's 4 different ways, and I've never tested. I'm assuming that that all those would have the same. If we fix it for CSV source, we should really make sure, or we should test for Excel and make sure that it doesn't double. And same with JSON. So that's if nobody stops me, I'm going to test that and learn something today. Somebody want to make a small JSON and put it on the clipboard? Somebody volunteer to do that. I don't want everybody to have to do it.
Okay, I've got one. Where do you want it?
If you put it in
Oh,
the meeting chat, would be great.
Here we go.
Thank you, sir. We've got some JSON. Very nice. Thank you. Button. Oh, sure. Button. JSON. List and toast. Toast. Count field. And so we will add tokens. Count will be
This is a good demo of low-code development.
so there's apparently there's only one element in here. Perfect. So if we now let's do it again, same input source, same output source, save. Will we get one or will we get two? Any bets?
They get two.
Amazing.
Hmm.
I would. Wow. So this appears to be destructive. And well,
Learn something?
something. And then there was another one that was from Excel. And we can do that too. short. So now do something very similar to this button. This, we still get the new list count. So not too hard. See if it's any more accurate. So type that minute X. Have an Excel file. Somebody say
LSX. Isn't it XLSX?
why done? No, I probably have a It is XLSX. And rows. Here we go. These people.
I'm afraid I'm going to need your email for that.
Well, I have one.
I'm just joking around.
Yeah. Well, this might be something that I can't solve today. And I'm not even sure I have Excel loaded on this system. One more. I know we have one more thing we can check. We could use Patrick's contribution here. Nope. Never mind. Okay, there was too much to
Denied.
Denied. Um, how likely is it this is going to happen? 11, which counts for the header row. And so now for all this excitement. Duplicate it.
Look at that.
Hmm.
Just when you
We
think you
have
know.
two things that need to be fixed and one perhaps that doesn't. It's all but at least this is what we do, folks, behind the scenes, checking out exactly what it does and then trying to find consistency and across the board. So we have two things to fix: the create list from Excel and create list from CSV Source. All right.
Just when you think you know someone.
That's right. This is what we call what? Dark corners here someplace, right? No, so that's what that was. All right. Thanks for spending your hour with us. We will do Low-Code Campfire again in 1 week. Bring a backdrop that you provided, or maybe that I provided, or one that you make up. Regardless, thanks for attending. We'll have a brief afterglow segment here in just a second.